What's going on guys, Aero here, and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video, I want to give you guys my predictions for how I think Nintendo's 2019 is going to be like. And so I'm just going to be giving you guys my predictions for how I think each month is going to be like in 2019, as well as what games I think will probably come out. Now before we get started, I do want to let you guys know that I am giving away an entire year of Nintendo Switch Online. And so if you want to have a chance to win that, then all you got to do is click the link in the description. I'll also make it the pinned comment of this video as well. And you already know that there's going to be some amazing online games coming out for the Nintendo Switch this year. And so if you want to have a chance to have Nintendo Switch Online, then definitely be sure to click the link for a chance to win. Now the pretty useful thing about Nintendo is that the way that they promote their games and the way that they do their directs and everything have become pretty predictable over the past few years. Now obviously it's not the same exact setup every year, but it is pretty similar in the way that they format their directs and then the way that they announce stuff and the way that they promote their games and what games release at that time, and so we can kind of use that to get a general idea of how we can expect the 2019 to be like as well. Now the first thing that usually happens is once the brand new year starts, we get our January Nintendo Direct. Now in this January Direct, we usually don't get a lot of big surprises, but they talk about some of the cool games that are going to be coming out towards like the end of March. And so if you guys remember that last year we did get a Nintendo Direct in January. It was actually a Nintendo Direct Mini that came out of nowhere, and that's where we got to see stuff like DLC for Pokken Tournament, we got to see The World Ends With You Final Remix, and we also got to see games like Mario Tennis Aces. Then after the January presentation, we usually have to wait until springtime to get another big Nintendo Direct, and this is usually the one that happens right before E3. Now this spring Nintendo Direct is usually full of a lot of content, and so if you guys remember last year we got to see the spring Nintendo Direct on March 8th, and that Nintendo Direct had a ton of stuff in it. Like the one thing that I remember is there was definitely Okami HD, they talked about the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy coming to the Switch, and of course the big thing that they announced at the very end, the big surprise was Super Smash Bros. Coming out on the Nintendo Switch. We also got to see other things for DLC like the Octo expansion, so the spring Directs usually have a lot of cool stuff in them. Then after the spring Nintendo Direct comes Nintendo's presentation at E3, and what they usually do at E3 for these past couple years is that they'll mainly focus on one big game, but they'll also talk about a few other games that are going to be scattered throughout their presentation, but obviously what they do is they'll focus on one big game, and that'll be like the star of their show. So last year in 2018, obviously the big game that they focused on was Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then in 2017 that big game was Super Mario Odyssey, and then in 2016 that game was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And then after Nintendo's E3 presentation, we usually get one last final Nintendo Direct for the year, and that usually happens in the fall around September and October. And so that fall Direct is usually full of a lot of content that's going to be releasing towards the end of the year, and it'll also go into some of the titles that are going to be coming out early next year as well. And so this is usually the formula that Nintendo follows throughout their years. I mean, obviously it's not going to be the same exact thing every single year, but usually they have like some sort of presentation in the beginning of the year that show off a few games, then they have like a big spring presentation that shows off a big game that's going to be coming out later that year, then at E3 they usually focus on one big game, and then we have a fall Nintendo Direct to wrap up stuff for the year. That's usually how they go about it, and that's what I think will probably happen again this year. But from the time that I am making this video, it is January right now, it's January 13th and I'm recording this video, and we still haven't gotten a January Nintendo Direct, so obviously it might not happen. I mean, they don't have to go off of this, but usually it's pretty much how they go about their stuff, so I feel like a January Direct could still happen, and I could totally see one coming this week. And so now I'm going to give you guys my predictions for which games I think are going to release each month in 2019. Now I'm sure a lot of these are probably going to be wrong, as I'm sure there's a lot of games that Nintendo is still hiding from us that are still going to be coming out in 2019, and so they're probably saving those for like their presentations and their directs, and so we don't know about a lot of these games that are still going to be coming out in 2019, but for the games that we do know that are coming out this year, I do want to give you guys my predictions for when I think that they're going to be releasing, so yeah, let's get started. Now for the month of January, one of the big Nintendo Switch games for this month actually released just a few days ago, and that is New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, which is still a terrible name in my opinion. I really don't like that name, but yeah, that is definitely one of the big games for this month. I think a lot of people are still going to get this game, even though a lot of people are underestimating it. I think a lot of people are saying like it's just a pretty lame port for the Wii U version, like there's no reason to get it, and I do agree, like I'm not picking up New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, but at the same time there's a lot of people out there who love Mario games like that, who love a lot of 2D platformers, and who probably didn't get to experience New Super Mario Bros. U on the Wii U, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of sales that are going to come out from that game. Now as for another big January title on the Nintendo Switch, I definitely think that that's going to be Travis Strikes Again No More Heroes, and so that's going to be an indie title. I don't think it's going to sell gangbusters on the Nintendo Switch, but I do know that a lot of people are considerably excited for that game, a lot of people are looking forward to it, and so there is that audience out there, and so that's definitely going to make do for another big game that's going to come out in January. Now moving into February, this is what I call the port month, as I really don't think that there's going to be like a big brand new release that's going to happen in this month, but I could totally see them doing a port of an older game just so that there's a brand new release on the Nintendo Switch. And I think even last year in February we got a port of Bayonetta 2 as well as Bayonetta 1 on the Nintendo Switch, so I could totally see them trying to do the same thing again this year where we get a port of some older game. Now in terms of the games that could get ported, I know that one game that a lot of people would still like to see from the Wii U is the Wonderful 101. I know some people would like to see Pikmin 3 as well, and a lot of people also want Super Mario 3D World, but for that game I feel like since we already just got a new Super Mario Bros. U port in January, if they are going to port Super Mario 3D World, they'll probably wait a little bit, but those are some of the ports that I know people would like to see from the Wii U. Now to be honest, if there was going to be a port in February, the only port that I personally would love to see is a Metroid Prime trilogy, and I've talked to you guys about this before. There's so many people that are excited for Metroid Prime 4, but there's also a bunch of people that I know that comment on my videos, tell me on Twitter, in my Discord. There's a lot of people that tell me they're like, Aero, I've never played a Metroid game before, like I've never played Metroid Prime, but I know so many people are excited for it, and all this hype for Metroid is getting me pretty excited as well. I kind of want to try the old Metroid games and see if I would be interested in Metroid Prime 4, and so they're always like, if there's going to be a Metroid Prime trilogy, I'll pick it up and see what it's like, so then I know if I want to get Metroid Prime 4, and so it would just make a ton of sense. And I mean, to be honest, Metroid doesn't sell that well either, especially in like the East and stuff, so I feel like if they did have a Metroid Prime trilogy on the Nintendo Switch, many people would buy it and it would be a really good sell, so that's really the only port that I want to have on the Nintendo Switch. Now for the month of March, it's pretty obvious that the big release that's going to happen for the Nintendo Switch is Yoshi's Crafted World, and Nintendo did confirm just a few days ago that that game is going to be releasing on March 29th, and so that's probably going to be the only big game that's going to happen for the Nintendo Switch. It's a brand new game, so that's going to be like their big March release. Now for the month of April, the game that I have is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, and so this game was actually announced at the Game Awards last year, and it is coming out exclusively for the Nintendo Switch. And the reason that I put it in April is, if you guys don't know, the brand new Avengers movie, Avengers Endgame, is also going to be releasing in April as well, and I could totally see them doing like a cross promotion with the brand new game as well as the movie. Now for the month of May, the big Nintendo Switch game that I think will release is going to be Fire Emblem Three Houses. And so this is going to be the brand new Fire Emblem game for the Nintendo Switch. They did say that it was going to be a spring 2019 release too, so I feel like it would make a ton of sense. And if you guys don't know, there's actually going to be like a Fire Emblem Expo that's going to happen in Japan as well. Like it's like a convention for Fire Emblem fans, I think, and they're going to talk about stuff, so I feel like May would just make a ton of sense. Now for the month of June, I put Daemon X Machina, and so if you guys don't know, that's like the brand new mecha game that they showed off at E3 last year, and I could totally see this being like the brand new game that releases at the end of E3 this year, and that's usually what Nintendo likes to do now. They try to have like a game that releases right after E3 is over. Last year that was obviously Mario Tennis Aces, and the year before that it was ARMS, so I could totally see that being like a brand new game that releases right towards the end of E3 this year. Now for the month of July, I think that Animal Crossing would make a ton of sense. I totally see Animal Crossing as like that happy, summer, cheery type of title, so I feel like Animal Crossing in July would just be perfect. Now for the month of August, the game that I have is Town, and so Town is obviously Game Freak's brand new IP that's releasing this year, and I could totally see it coming out in August. I kind of see it being like the Mario plus Rabbids of this year. Now September is really the only month that I'm pretty unsure as to what major game release to put. I don't know if there's any game release that would make a ton of sense. I could totally see them doing just like a random port that they want for that month. They could do like the Super Mario 3D World port then, they could do a port of something else, or we could get some sort of sequel as well. Maybe we could get like some sort of brand new Mario game. They could do Super Mario Maker 2 or something like that, but this is really the month that I don't know what they could put. I put Super Mario Maker 2 in my predictions because that's something that I really want this year, but I feel like maybe instead of that they could just do some sort of other Mario game or some sort of big third-party game as well. Now for October, I think that Luigi's Mansion 3 would just make a ton of sense. With October and Halloween, you've definitely got the spooky and creepy vibes going on, so having Luigi's Mansion 3 come out then would just be perfect. Then moving into November, I think that we can all expect Pokemon's 8th generation to release then. I mean, Pokemon has been doing November releases for like the past 4 years now, so having a November release for this year's brand new game definitely would just make a ton of sense. Pokemon definitely tries to get like the big holiday sales, so they always have their games come out like right before Black Friday, and we already know that Pokemon's 8th generation is going to do ridiculous on the Nintendo Switch, so having a November release then would just make perfect sense. And then finally for December, I really don't know if we're going to be getting a big December game this year. I know that Nintendo has been doing it in the past. I mean, obviously last year in December we got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and then the year before we had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, but I really don't know if this year we're going to get like a big December game. I feel like that there's really not that many games that could come out. I mean, the big games that I know a lot of people want to have in December, or just even in 2019, are Metroid Prime 4 and Bayonetta 3, and I still think that those games are far away from coming out, and I feel like if there was going to be one of those two releasing, I think that the only one that would make sense is Bayonetta 3. I could kind of see Bayonetta 3 being like a December game this year, but I really don't think that Metroid Prime 4 is coming out this year. I would love to be wrong, but I feel like it just wouldn't make a lot of sense. So if we're lucky, I think we could see Bayonetta 3 in December this year, but if we're not, I definitely think that those games are going to be coming out later, and that December will just be an empty month. And so there you go, guys, those are my predictions for Nintendo's 2019. Definitely be sure to click that like button if you guys enjoyed this video, and also comment down below and let me know what you guys think of this. Do you guys agree with some of my predictions? Do you guys not agree with some of them? What are your predictions for Nintendo's 2019 and when the games are going to come out? Definitely be sure to comment those down below. If you're new to this channel, then please be sure to subscribe. I'm definitely going to have some more Nintendo content in the future, so please be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on that. Click on that bell to become a part of the notification squad. Go follow me on Twitter at Aero so you can be featured in videos, and also join my Discord server as well. We've got a bunch of people in there who are always talking about Pokemon and Smash Bros and Nintendo, so definitely be sure to join that. And remember to enter my giveaway as well. I am giving away an entire year of Nintendo Switch Online, and if you want to have a chance to win that, then all you gotta do is click the link in the description. I'll also make it the pinned comment of this video as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching.